While asylum seeker boats frequently feature in the headlines, it's not so often we hear the backstories of resettled refugees. Now, a Western Sydney theatre troupe is hoping to change that. In the Tree of Life drama program, young refugees share their experiences. Reporter Sarah Sedgey filmed their show's closing night.
This happened to me when I was 10 years old.
When you were 10 years old? What? Okay, let's do it again.
My sister?
It's the rehearsal of stories they know so well. But as opening night looms, nerves are running high for these young performers.
My mother still has a nightmare.
I think it's a mixed feeling. I'm so nervous because it's the first time that I want to perform it, and I'm happy because I want to share my stories.
Believe me, I beg you.
But this is no ordinary theatre production. The scripts are based on the real stories of the young refugee actors involved.
When I was in Iran, and that year the government told that the Afghan people can't go to school. And when I go to the school and the principal told me, no, you can't go to school, it was so hard for me.
Samaya Hadari and her brother Mehdi made the journey to Australia just under a year ago. They were sponsored by the United Nations to come here for their own protection. It's a story she finds hard to talk about, but she's dealing with it on stage.
They're kids. They have no political agenda. They're just telling their stories. So it's that the power of the story is incredible. And it escapes the sound bites and the political chatter, the prejudice, just to allow yourself to be drawn into these stories.
You look beautiful.
The program is called Tree of Life, and each performer tells of the difficulties and the happiness that they have lived through. ESL teacher and creative director Ruth Harcher O'Brien says these are stories Australians need to understand.
After the first show, they're like, they really like us. They're really interested. Because before that, sometimes they say, well, why would anyone want to hear our story? Or why would I want to tell my story?
I
went with my father to work and 3 masked men came to our house. They threatened my mother and my siblings. They said, leave the house and leave Iraq or we'll kill you. My mother rang us. They were scared. We returned to the house and my father said, okay, and we left.
Iraqi-born Sullivan Mati is also taking part in the performance. In his 17 years, he has lived through more adversity than most would in a lifetime.
I want the people here to know what's happening in Iraq and why we are here. I want to show people why we left.
But informing the audience is not the only benefit of the project. The performers involved learn language skills, they make friends and develop confidence.
It gives them support in the sense that it gives them an opportunity to feel connected. It gives them a purpose. It gives them a sense of pride and dignity in themselves. And all of those are the needs of children that are recovering from trauma.
Adam, that's great being lower.
Catherine Maguire-Don Vito makes up the duo running Tree of Life. It's not easy work, but the results make it all worthwhile.
I like the connection with the kids. I like the relationships that I'm able to develop with the kids. And I just love it when they go from having fairly minimal skills to where, and barely able to tell their story, to where they can not only tell their story, they perform it in front of 300 people. And then when they get the applause, it's just something so special.
The pair work with several groups of young refugees each year, and they're getting used to the chaos.
They usually do pull the rabbits out of the hats, but every time there's sometimes that little niggling doubt that maybe they won't this time, but at the end of the day, it's all about them, and whatever they do, the audiences just seem to love it.
It's performance night at Parramatta Riverside Theatre in Sydney's West. As the crowds shuffle in, the actors are getting some last-minute advice.
And you're talking to us now, 2 years on the other side, not the other hand.
Backstage, the mood is shifting from nervous to excited.
refugees, all of them truth. My name is Rafiq. My story is about an ambush.
The performers hope that the audience will walk away understanding them a little better. They're also grateful they've been given the opportunity to be heard.
They've got the courage to live through this stuff, to make new lives for themselves. The least we can do is testify to it and try and help other people hear it, see it, understand it.
But to actually see the child who survived that suicide bombing stand there and play the part of themselves or someone else, and actually play that part, it suddenly really brings it home. And so we see the news through the eyes of the 10-year-old or the 8-year-old that was actually there.
Very nice, gentle.
I just feel really honoured and privileged to be able to do this work. And of course, after they perform, that's the best moment.